Open the valves, let the salt in. The iron is tired, the voyage is done. Na Uramato Kuruma. Sing to the silt, sink to the deep. Outco remembers, outco will keep. Six bells for the silent, wait for the fire. We will return. We will return.
Down the street, feeling those old school vibes. Got my eye on a car sitting there, it's a surprise. Muscle car dreaming, they're my fantasy. No lie, but my budget's tight, can't afford to fly. Sign says for sale, got me intrigued, can't deny. Parking my truck, gotta take a closer look. Oh my, something about this ride, can't put my finger on why. It's like a mix of all the classics, but a whole new kind of high. Bethany Blue, driving through the night, staying true, moving at the speed of light. No one else got a car like mine inside. It's unique, it's my pride. I'm a ride through the light. At that old house there was a car, a sign out front, 2 grand ain't too far. No number to call, he went to knock, but the door swung open and the man just talked. Come on in, son, have a seat. Let me tell you about this car so sweet. Bethany Blue, that's what she was. Convertible ride, boy, that blue shine. Treat you right if you kept her fine. She's a beauty from that olden time. The man's voice was gruff, his words slow. She was a runner, mileage low. Treat you right if you kept her fine. She's a beauty from that olden time. Bethany Blue, driving through the what she was, a convertible ride boy, that blue shine. Treat you right if you kept her fine. She's a beauty from that olden time. Cruising down the street in Bethany blue, a Delta full of cedars, custom built, one of a kind, like nothing you've ever seen, with cream colored seats. This car's got flow, Bethany blue. She knew what to choose, every upgrade fit, like she had the clues, hopping around the map.
Hello, everyone. For now, we're going to start with a little Dead by Daylight. Wait for people to filter in, probably the first hour or so. And then we'll get to having some fun otherwise. Okay, no. Let's do the lights out. Try Survivor to start with. Oh yeah, not available in this modifier. What? Okay, what are the lights out rules? Gone are perks, items, and add-ons. Gone is the killer's tear radius and all Survivor scratch marks. Gone are the lights, leaving the map shrouded in darkness and more terrifying than ever before. Okay. So, we'll give this a shot. I don't know if I ever played Lights Out before. Nothing to wait on. Can't do anything here. Let's see what happens. I'm probably not going to do well, but whatever. Here for a fun time, not a long time. Yes, I know the true saying is good time, but whatever. I said what I said. Gotta keep my wits about me. Okay, so literally have no perks. The killer is out there somewhere. Well, somebody's getting chased. I can't even tell how long I have left on it. Oh, I just realized that. I can't remember. It's the lady that spits on you. Whoops. Way over there. Okay. Oh, we don't even get to know how many generators are done. Oh, joy. Somebody just went stalking by. Oh, boy. Okay. Scratch marks are gone, so I don't have to worry too much about running around. Way over there, okay. There's another Jenny Jen Jen. There's normally one in here. Missed me. Missed me, missed me. Gave you a decent chase, though, lady. Is anybody close? One person. We've got 2 generators done, I think is what I heard. And she's camping me? Really? Thank you. Wait for it. Okay. No. Word. Okay. The plague, that's what she's called. Really? Camping? Really? That's just rude. Let's see, you camping again? Yep, you are camping again. Yes, yes, I will get rid of it soon. As I can. Well, that's a lantern. I'm an idiot. I'm not really worried about lanterns. Okay. Now you're camping the... Oh, I thought that one... Yeah, yeah. Figured I was screwed anyway, so I thought I'd wait for, Oh! I heard! I was so close. Well, good game. Not gonna super worry about it. Yeah, tier 4. As to be expected. continue to the next one. Yeah, mostly I'm just waiting on people to filter in before I start talking. Like, start the actual just chatting. I'm just wasting time right now. I know people are getting used to the earlier time. I mean, this is only the second day I've done it. Let's see. And the pants. Let's go with these. And let's go back with my classic. I love that head model. You know, more befitting a blackout event, you know, camouflage. Even funnier is that it's black and white, so it should work out pretty well. A duck on quack. Nice. Missing link crane. Free Lida. Lida's carry? Scary? Trying to figure out the names. For fun. Oh, the blackout event is interesting. I will say that. It's not bad. I'm not complaining. Well, 3 of us all start in the same spot. What a wonder. 4. Same map again. Okay, somebody just dropped their lamp in. Hey, first one out of the gate is a great skill check. That's starting real well. No complaints there. Just trying to keep an eye out. I think the generators get finished faster. Waiting to see what we find. I think the worst thing would be like a wraith on this map. Oh. No hum even. Got you. Missed me. Almost. I should have just turned the damn corner. That was my fault. Oh, you almost missed that one. At least you're not a can. Really? That sucks. dropped so... Oh, because you were the other one. Thank you. Something like that. This one's all finished. Of course. Seems like a bad place to be. Okay, they've been freed. Even the Huntress's lullaby is muted. Hey, what's up, Infinite? How you doing? I'm just playing games until people show up. You know, so I can start talking. I'm doing good. I know the earlier time is unexpected. So I planned on just goofing a little bit ahead of time. I just want to finish this one. It's a Huntress though, so no lullaby, no nothing. I almost didn't get that one. Yeah, so don't worry, I didn't give up on talking. I'm just figured the first hour, yes, I do. It gives me more freedom to go longer without actually keeping other people up. If you know what I mean. Well, if anything, I've done 2 generators. Come on. No heal check? Oh, I almost missed that one. So healing seems to take longer. Literally camping, Huntress? What? No? Why me? Why me? Why? Why, Huntress? Why me? Is it because I'm made of meat? Oh, yeah. Wow. Doing good here. I know we've got a few generators done. I just don't know how many. Thank you. Much appreciated, Duck. Especially since you seem to be the badass of the group. We've all been hooked twice, and you have been hooked 0. Right? Gonna sit here. 80 stream streak. Nice. Think I'm safe? Before you lose it again, right? Hey, nothing wrong with that. Still got me though. No, I want to die. I gotta say, good huntress. Excellent job. Not gonna complain about that. They didn't do anything that I would consider like really bad. Will say that playing it's part of the game. Let's do a little spectation though. Let's see, so we've just got Duck. A duck on Quack, who's doing an excellent job. Mostly I'm just curious on... Poor Duck. Gonna be all alone here shortly. Wait, what? So hard to find anything here. And besides, you have to be a good sport. I mean, let's be honest, you have to be a good sport because what's the point otherwise? Dang, guy actually was doing pretty good. Right. I mean, yeah, there's times when a killer will get under my skin. Absolutely. I'll get frustrated, I'll get angry, because either the killer's just too good, and it feels like cheating, or they're just toxic. Do I have anything left? No feet. Hey, my free gift. Woohoo. A bunch of points. I'll probably play for another half hour or so. Because, yeah, we still don't have a whole lot of viewers just yet. And I know people get lost if I start too soon at talking. Okay. Well, I didn't figure people would mind too much. But I thought maybe, you know, being a little bit more flexible in what I do each night might also help others. You know, instead of just like, oh, brain's dead, I can't really think of things to talk about, boot up a game. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just trying. I'm trying different things. I'm trying to do better, be better at what I do. Yeah, Pixel Cali, or Pixel Cal. They used a 1 for the I, so I thought maybe Cali, Pixel Cali 3 or Pixel Cal 13. It's a hard one. Lights Out is an interesting event. No, I mean we're just having fun. We're chilling. We're being cool. Gotta relax a little bit. Actually, got to get that adrenaline rush before I start talking and lecturing you guys and boring you to go to sleep. That's a joke, by the way. So the Sanctum of Wrath just must be where you end up in the Lights Out event. Like, this is the only map. Yeah, actually, it was a lot of fun watching Ghost spend an hour and a half trying to beat one song. And that was no fault of his own. That was one sweaty of a song. Like, yeah. Yeah, because it added a pendulum mechanic, so you had to have all 4 arrows and use the space for beat. And you could only miss like 3 of the beat. Yeah, it would. That was no, you know, that's no like denigrating Ghost, by the way. That was just hard. Woo! That's just the one person. Did hear one back here. I heard something? Okay, somebody's being chased. Urds. I do a great one, and you fail. Right? Although the next one was a lot of fun. The next song he was working on was a lot of fun. Okay, way over there. Wanted to see how far I had. Yeah, the rest of the time he spent playing one song. Just slugging? Killer, what's going on? Woo! The one guy must have got up. Okay, I hear the damn thing. Oh, this is the... And I know the Oni's just trying to get their... blood up. I'm seeing if I can get a medical kit. A lantern. Never mind. I don't know what that dude's running around for. Right. No, I'm just trying to, you know, do the job. Haven't escaped one of these yet. Okay. Wrong. Of course, just when I go to pick him up. Oh, I thought he was going to take him down to the basement. Somebody's already being chased. Really? Another one. Nope, nope, he wasn't camping. I'm gonna follow this dude. He seems to know what he's doing. What are you doing? I don't know what they're doing. Another one that's done. All I can do is listen for him. How many generators? There's quite a few in the game, but we only have to get a certain amount. But I want to drink some tea. Alright, fine. Jesus. You scared me. Okay, that's the gate. Yeah, I was gonna say the last gen's gotta be around here somewhere. Well, I don't know if it's the last one. I honestly have no idea. It's probably marked for some stupid reason. Well, he didn't ask for help, so... You know, as an Oni, I'm actually surprised. Like, you'd think that he would be doing a lot better. Onis are beasts. But also, in all this darkness, it may be a lot harder than normal. I assumed you meant for real. Is that the other gate over there? Okay. He mad. He big mad. Woo! I figured they opened the other gate. I didn't realize they opened this one. Or I'm confused on what they were doing. Hey, I was nice. I did a lot of good things. I was really special. I was even the highest scorer. So even the killer doesn't get perks? Okay, so that might make it real different. Hey, I ain't complaining. I did well. Probably got time for one more. You enjoying yourself, Infinite? Am I entertaining enough? Do I not entertain? Am I giving you something to focus on? Oh. Sorry, I'm just thinking of things to talk about. Purple latte, love it. Umbra bear. A shadow bear, I like it. Trafiki. Why does that sound like Rafiki who's fallen on bad times and is trafficking drugs? I was once Rafiki, now I am Trafiki. I traffic in many things. Anybody want to use road cone? I ain't never ready. I'm sitting here making jokes and I'm the jerk that forgot to ready. Whoops. Sorry, guys. Invocation. Okay, take a while to load. It's okay, I'll wait. I know I was the last one to ready up, but come on, guys. I think it's a failed boot. Yeah, because this is taking way too long. Oh, the bar's moving, finally. I was like, what the hell? Okay, the bar moved. So there are other maps. Just waiting. We'll see. Cheryl Mason, Purple Misty. Perplex Misty. Brick Boy. Some of these, I'm almost afraid to say their names because might be an insult in another language. What are you waiting on? You literally can't choose anything other than cosmetics. I do happen to like the Cheryl Mason costume, though. That looks... It's a mood. The rest, Not a big fan of the Sable, to be honest. Like, I like her perks, but the Goth Queen aesthetic is nice in real life. In games, it's overused. Cheryl, I even complimented your outfit. Thank you. Did I have to remind you that I complimented you on your outfit? Should I have said it differently than last time? I don't know. I appreciate a unique costume. Just a waiting. Just a waiting. The bar's full. No. Oh, there we go. The treatment theater. Or teatra. Oui. Okay, that's somebody. Are you kidding me? I totally had that. Pyramid Head. Wonderful. And he came right around that faster than I expected. That's what I get for failing at it. Thing. My total bad. I am the jerk. I deserve to get chased. Thank you, Pyramid Head, for punishing me for my failures. I shall endeavor to do better in the future. Cheryl? Really? I was gonna say, come on, dude. I just got here. I hear the siren call of a generator. And this dude just comes out of nowhere. Somebody got barbed wire. Poor Cheryl. Yeah, we're almost done. I wasn't going to stop. Oh, and you're the other Sable. The one that hasn't been hurt yet. Okay, you want to heal me right here? I'll take it. Cheryl's been running him. The most dangerous one of all to try and do. Yep, figured that one. You want me to heal you right here? Okay. I mean, we do actually have decent sight lines. Brick boy dead. Nope. Never mind. It was just close. Okay. I don't think he saw me, which is impressive. Damn it. And I ran into the basement because I couldn't see. Yep, I'm an idiot. What's up, T-Row? At least you're occupied down here for a moment. I didn't even see the basement. Oh, they just leaving me. Oh. How rude. My day has been good. How's yours? Finished session 0 for a D&D campaign. Went good. Nice. Yeah, they're just leaving me. Yeah, I'm still sitting here struggling. Struggle points is a thing, man. I don't know how much longer I can keep it up, though. Yep. It's been good. Figure I'll run the ad now. Come back and be ready to talk when I get back. Because I do have plans to talk. I'm just not playing D&D the whole night. D&D. DBD. I read D&D in the chat. Oh, you guys saved one of the other ones? Really? But you left me... Okay, valid. You know what? I screwed up. I dropped myself in the pit. With 2 down and 1 on the floor. He wants a Mori. 'Cause that's a Mori. Okay. Hey, I ain't complaining. I actually did quite a bit there. And like I said, I dropped myself into the Oh, he left. Ah. Well, I was trying to take, you know, ownership of my mistake. That I dropped myself into the stupid basement like a dummy. Okay. Gonna exit this. And I'll be right back.
A struggle, just an empty seat. The keys were in it, a full tank of gas. It's a mystery to grasp. His voice was rough, his words unrefined, but his knowledge ran deep, much more than mine. He warned of the ways Bethany Blue led us astray, said he'd rather be a fool with something to say. She loved that car, take you to Bethany Blue. A perfect stick in the grass, a pine cone in my pocket. The quest begins. Gather the party right after the dawn, meeting up daily on the neighborhood lawn. We're heading out to the lot with the towering trees, where the overgrown weeds are blowing in the breeze. I find a heavy oak branch, it's a legendary blade. We step into the shadows of the forest, a canopy shade. We charge the thorny bushes, the guardian or patrol, swinging the heavy timber, I'm playing the hero's role. I bury a prickly branch, sweep and a duck, my body on the flank, relying on skill and luck. We clash in the overgrowth, a glorious ape fray, knocking the leaves to the dirt, clearing a hidden way. With a spin and a strike, the thorny defenders yield, and we stand victorious, heroes of the battlefield. The picket fence is the border of a mystical land, with a map we drew with crayon in our hand. We've conquered the outer rim, holding a steady pace, the brave defenders of the human race. We are the heroes of legend, answering the call with swords of timber. We won't ever fall, throwing our pine cones like magical fire, climbing up the oak tree higher and higher. It's an epic adventure in the backyard dirt, saving the kingdom in a grass-stained shirt. The neighbor's garden, it's a desert of dread, looking for the hidden loot in the flower bed. We gotta push a heavy rock to unlock the secret door, finding a shiny quarter, adding to our treasure score, completing puzzle quest by the patio chairs, avoiding the gaze of the neighborhood bears. But before the final boss, the river of dread is wide, a muddy creek in the lot, danger on every side. Look at the crayon map, a puzzle of mossy stones. One wrong step in the muck will swallow our pixel bones. Left foot, right foot, center, then jump to the shore. We made it to Dragonfly, we've never made it here before. The picket fence is the border of a mystical land, with a map we drew with a crayon in our hand. We've conquered the outer rim, we're holding a steady pace as the brave defenders of the human race. We are the heroes of legend, answering the call with swords made of timber. We won't ever fall, throwing our pine cones like magic the final boss emerges from the pile. It's an ancient green dragon rising out of the aisle. Well, it's a giant weeping willow with branches like claws. But we strike at the bark, looking for flaws. Throw the last pine cone, a critical hit. The dragon is defeated. And we don't ever quit. We are the heroes of legend, answering the call with swords made of tin.
And we're back. So, how we doing tonight? We having a wonderful time? I hope so. Doing, because now it is time to fire the side. Or something. Something like that. So, what I want to talk about tonight is, well, let's start from the beginning, where I got the thought. You know the old line everyone has heard before, everyone, it gets thrown around a lot. With great power comes great responsibility. It's almost become a meme. Well, I think we need to flip it on its head. With no power comes no responsibility. Think about it. Think about how much weight we carry around with us. We have literal zero responsibility for, too, and zero ability to change. We burn up our mental energy stressing over these massive companies, these unwieldy corporations that have so much control over us, and we have zero control over them. But instead of, how do I put it? Instead of worrying so much about it, we're literally draining our own mental batteries. We need to start securing our borders of ourselves, setting our boundaries with what we really can change, with what we really can do something about. And the first thing to do is just look at your own four walls. Inside your house, you have ultimate control. You choose what comes across the threshold. You choose how to handle it when it's done. Take garbage, for example. You sort the trash, you sort your recyclables, you do what you can. But, once you roll the curbs out, or the bins out to the curb, you have no control over what happens to them. And you hear that, recyclables get picked up, but hardly anybody ever actually, they barely ever get recycled. So we stress over the fact of how much garbage and stuff we're producing. When we have no control over that, who makes the plastic wrap that goes around every little thing? I mean, I remember in Washington, we had outlawed plastic straws. And so you had to buy, various different straws that came wrapped in plastic. And the paper straws were wrapped in plastic, which is hilarious because most plastic straws were wrapped in paper. So we know that it can be done. So why were they wrapped in plastic? It didn't make sense. We had no control over that, though. Even while trying to do the right thing, corporations forced our hand into doing the wrong thing. To the point where it made no sense. You weren't helping anything. You weren't doing anything. Right? And I mean, okay, you can't use single-use plastic bags. Because they make a lot of microplastics. So here, buy a heavier, durable plastic bag. that's going to take longer and spawn off more microplastics in the long run. What? Like, did they even think about that for a second? Like, that makes no sense. But what are you supposed to do? I mean, you're supposed to, like, like you said, drive yourself nuts over it? You can't. Once it leaves your hands, you have zero power. Your absolute responsibility to it drops to nothing. You can only do what you are supposed to do. That's it. You can't control what these giant corporations keep turning out the stuff that's wrapped in, made of plastic. And all you're going to do sitting there worrying about it is waste your life. But do your part inside your space, but release it at the curb. There's nothing you can do beyond that. So just stop trying to manage the landfill from your living room. There's nothing you can do about it. But we also carry this exact same senseless ideas into politics. Once you drop your vote, you have zero control over what happens, whether or not your candidate gets elected, and what they do if they win. You have zero control over what they do from there. Stressing, obsessing, getting into fights with people over the fact accomplishes nothing. You're literally doing nothing. What you can control is how you research your candidate before you vote. You stop listening to the campaign promises. You stop listening to the campaign propaganda. And you start researching their actual track record. What are they promising right now versus what they've done in the past? Do those two things line up? Is it suddenly going to change because they get elected to a higher rung? Is it suddenly going to change because this time I'll be different? No, they're going to do the exact same thing that they did before. And this goes into many other things. But you're letting all of these little things hijack your time in your lives. Like doom scrolling. Like, you intend to pick up your phone to check a notification, and then the app sucks you in. And suddenly, the time you needed to do something else is gone. You've now wasted 45 minutes. Right. So what you do is you don't rely on willpower or trying to find some way to arbitrarily limit your screen time with some app or something else that's going to do the same freaking thing. It's easier to tell yourself to schedule, like in your phone scheduler, you can set alarms for, oh, hey, I need to take out the trash to the curb. Oh, hey, I need to do laundry. And this is the when the laundry's roughly about to be done, so set in another alarm. So if you do get sucked into an app, you have that alarm reminding you. It's not about screen time, it's what you do with it. This is what I've been trying to say, is that it comes with intention. You have to set these boundaries. You have to set these things. You have to do that. But they always want to offer you another app when your phone already has it. It's like I was talking with my mom about, Facebook Messenger. Why the frack do people use Facebook Messenger? You have a phone that texts. And if you don't have that person's personal contact number, what are you doing contacting them? They're obviously not that important in your life. There's no reason for you to have their phone number. You don't have your family's text? You can't text your family? Like, they don't have phones that you have the phone number of? So you have to use Facebook? Like, I get it, people use it. But why are you using a separate app that your phone already has? Yeah. See, you get it. See, that's my point right there. They send the funnies through. Yet all the while, Facebook is on the back end literally been given permission to everything in your phone. Your contacts, your this, your that. They know what you talk about. They know even what makes you laugh and how to do all of this stuff. Why do you think you end up doom scrolling your phone? Because they know how to sync you in. You know, and that's what I'm saying is that we're sitting here and told we have no power, we have no power. The companies have all the power, and yet we can take that power away. You take that away from Facebook, what do they have? I mean, I don't know many people that still really use actual Facebook. Most people end up using Messenger. Yes, we willingly give this power over. All the time. And by just setting some alarms for yourself. I need to do laundry Tuesday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. I need to vacuum the floor every Saturday. You know, you can do these things in your phone and you can set them up to keep going off. You know, yearly. You know, and another thing is just that don't check your notifications until you have the core tasks done. That's the whole point of notifications. They're going to be there when you can get to them. That's the old reason for texting people. It wasn't to get an instant response. You know, if they really wanted to contact you, they'd call, which seems to give a whole lot of people anxiety, so they won't call you, so you can get your stuff done before you actually talk to them. And if that upsets them, that's their problem. You know, I mean, I don't understand the anxiety at a phone call. I don't understand. I mean, obviously, I have no problem talking to people. And with how much people record themselves doing every little stupid thing in their life, it amazes me that people have anxiety about a phone call. You see, I prefer a phone call. You know, a 4-hour text block can be 20 minutes in a phone call. You're spending more time. Hi, babies. You're spending more time. Yeah, VC, voice chat. What do you think a call is? It's voice chat. That's all a phone is just another form of voice chatting. Again, we use a separate app to do the exact same thing we already had. Like, but anyway, if you work on your screens at home, like I do, I have habits because this is my only computer. I don't have a work computer and a home computer. Oh, you little butt. You knew I was going to pick you up. You know, and like you'll see me, I'll move the desk up and down. I have the monitor move up and down. But I also have ways I position the keyboard. Right. Don't even get me started on that yet. We'll get there. So, you know, I have this positioning where I'll put the keyboard when I'm playing games. You know, and when I'm sitting here on chat, I mean, it's obvious I'm chatting. I set the screens up in a certain way. And when I'm done, or when I'm actually like working on the scripts, and yes, hello, Greenie, and stuff like that, I move the keyboard and mouse in a different way so that my hands are by home row rather than the WASD figure. The mouse is a little off, so it's not as comfortable. So my hands are right on home row, and I work like that. Then when I'm playing games and like relaxing, I also have a different way of sitting. You know, where I'm actually kind of reclined and relaxing. Hi. Nope. You jumped up again. You get to be on camera. Yes. Oh. The Flufferkins. Yes. Miss Fluffy. The fluffy little babies. You done? Okay. But when the work's done, you know, but I also have different things that I do, like when I'm doing housework. Yes, Flufferkins. I mean, her name's Ash, but I call her all sorts of things. But she's so fluffy, Flufferkins. You know, I also turn my speaker up loud, so when I'm going through the house, I'm listening. It's like when I listen to Raven, which is also why I haven't been commenting as much, is because I'm not right there at the end of the video. It moves on to the next one. So, what I'm trying to say is that set up habits so your brain knows what you're doing. You know, set up things with intention to do something. Infinite, greenie, greenie, infinite, greenie, infinite. But donkey. But basically, you give yourself physical, visual, and auditory cues for what you're doing, so you have these delineations in your day. I realize, like, I can't really tell you what you should do because everybody's workspace is different. Everybody's workspace is different. So we always have to find a way to figure out how to delineate it. Like Infinite, you're in college, so you have a certain way when you set things up for when you're actually doing college stuff. And then you have probably certain ways you set up for when you're just sitting and watching something or whatnot. You know, you have different things. You just need to recognize what you do. You know, I'm pretty sure Greenie has similar habits. But also Greenie actually goes to a job. I don't know what you do, Infinite, if you even have a job. Not that I'm trying to call you out or ask about it. I'm just saying I don't really know, so I can't speak on that, but I can speak on like college stuff. But we also run into a boundary with modern tech where people are complaining about data centers, you know, popping up everywhere. But they forget that everything we do online needs somewhere to reside. The information has to be called from somewhere. Algorithms need the servers to run. They're way too big and unwieldy to run straight off of your personal device, for now. And, I mean, even my heavy-duty gaming PC at Walgreens. But, basically, my heavy-duty gaming PC would have to be specifically formatted with SQL and all of these other codes just to find my favorite YouTubers. You know, I mean, like trying to get a For You page like directly that you control would be unwieldy as hell. Like most people don't understand how much coding goes into this stuff. But what you can do... Okay, I was gonna say, I don't know where that came from. Well, okay, first, we've moved in a direction, technological wise, we don't love. But we can't single-handedly stop the global infrastructure from happening. I mean, that's been proven. What you can control is the number of apps you trust and use. The amount of data you've put out there. Reducing the number of apps you use is much like recycling. You do your part. You know, hence, going back to people using Facebook, doing this. You complain about data centers, but you're giving them a reason to build them. You know, I mean, what do you do? How do you control it? Well, you do your part. Reduce the clutter. Reduce the clutter on your phone. I mean, it might shock you guys that I don't really have a whole lot of apps on my phone. I have the one game I play and have been playing for at least 10 plus years. Let's see something. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Any other apps that I actually use? 13. I have 13 apps. Well, one, I wouldn't use a food app. I wouldn't get delivery. Unless I'm calling like a pizza joint that has a dedicated delivery guy. I wouldn't touch Uber and, DoorDash, Postmates, what other ones are there? Grubhub. I wouldn't touch those because they're selling your data and you're paying for it. You put that app on your phone, you're giving it permission to have, access to your contacts. So when you order a burrito from Uber, your family members are going to get ads for a burrito. Who cares? How do you think they're paying for those deals? Those deals are actually not deals. They're from the theft of your information. Your pocketbook cares. Valid. I don't know any other way to say this. Maybe we need to pay more attention to how we use our money. Because if you're using the app to find deals, are you getting it delivered? Because if you're getting it delivered, you're paying a 10% surcharge right off the top, regardless of the deal. I mean, okay, not always, but if you're paying for it to get delivered, it's costing you more to get it delivered than it would be if you got in your car and drove to get it yourself. You're paying for convenience. And if you knew how insecure those apps really are, and how many risks you're taking by using those apps, you may not be so happy and wantonly using them. But see, that's what I'm saying is that you guys were just talking about data centers, and yet you're fueling them. Your guys' problem is, well, I don't want it in my backyard. Not realizing that you're fueling it. Where are they getting their pay, Greenie? From you. Everybody's catching strays. Like, look, I'm not clean. I told you I had 13 apps on my phone. That aren't bloatware that the phone already had on. We're the ones fueling it. We're doing it. But at the end of the day, what I'm talking about is taking responsibility for what you actually can control. Control your space, anchor your mind, do your research, do your chores, and release everything else at the curb. Like, just let it go. That's the point. Reduce the amount of clutter in your life, because that's what's making you feel so rushed, so crushed, and so broke. You don't feel like you have control. I'm sorry to say, but these data centers are going to go up no matter what you say. I mean, just before I got on tonight. Now, yeah, we all do. I do my fair share, but I mean, it creeps back in and I start deleting apps again. You're not going to be perfect. Trust me, you're not going to be perfect. But I have a timer on my phone, because I have a Google, and I set a certain, if I haven't used an app in a certain amount of time, it removes all of its permissions and makes it go to sleep. And it literally tells me what apps it did it to. And if it's like, oh, well, delete it. Done. There's timers in your phone for stuff like that. You done being upset? Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is that if we're going to sit here and complain about data centers, well, maybe we need to do something about that. The only reason why they keep getting money, you know, I really miss a time when taking a picture meant something. When taking a picture wasn't disposable. When you took pictures of things that mattered. It's like not just a pretty sunset, but it cost you money every time you clicked the shutter. It cost you time. And you didn't know what you were getting at the end. You tried to do the best you could and take a good picture. And then when was the last time you looked at it? Because you've made the picture disposable by, oh, it's pretty, I want to save that for later. You never look at it again. Oh, I stand corrected. But I know most people don't. Like, photography used to be a valid career path. A photographer was a big deal. What's up, XO? This time you're an hour and a half late. Or maybe you've been lurking, I don't know. Yo! Sorry, the kitty. I told you guys that I was gonna start trying, you know, at least Monday and Tuesdays. Starting at 8 o'clock, and probably Thursdays, and maybe Fridays. I don't know. And don't worry, XO. I just played DBD for most of it. Apparently, I'm in a mood tonight. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to. But I'm serious, you know. We have to pay attention to what we do. You know, we can sit, like I was telling him, XO, because data centers got brought up. And it kind of fit directly into what I was saying is that, okay, you complain about data centers, but you use data centers all the time. Every app. You know, every time, you know, every app, and I'm not talking like Twitch, YouTube, you know, things that are kind of ubiquitous and everybody kind of uses. I'm talking the stupid little food apps, because every place has to have its own app. Oh, what's McDonald's deals? Oh, what's Burger King's deals? Oh, what's this deal? What's that deal? What's this deal? You really think you're getting deals? You're not getting any better deals than what you would be if you just went to the door. Sure, that was a app-only deal. Oh, wow. See, I don't touch them either. I won't use apps like that because, well, if... Infinite, do you really have the disposable cash to buy Taco Bell merch? Like, is Taco Bell merch really worth it? Like, I'm asking. I'm not trying to judge here. I'm literally asking because I don't. I don't have the disposable cash to buy Taco Bell merch. Freebies? Oh, okay. But is it really that big of a deal just to get something free? Is your data that they're scraping from your phone through the app that you offered all the permissions to be on your phone worth a free Frisbee or dishes or whatever they're offering free, a t-shirt, hat, sunglasses? I don't know what they have. Watch, I just listed off everything they give. I'm just saying, is it really worth that? Is it worth having your information sit on a data center that's now creating a hum that makes it unlivable in a certain neighborhood. Because that's the true cost of all of these convenient apps. These deals you get. That's the true cost, is a data center in your neighborhood. Except for most people are going to sit here and say, well, not in my backyard, not in my backyard, not in my backyard. Never realizing that just because you say not in my backyard means it gets into somebody else's backyard. Somebody's got to do it. Oh no, I like the way you put it first, just making face realities. That's not just you, that's anybody that's listening. And anybody in the future that's listening. You know, I mean, we control what we put out there. You may not realize it, but you do. You control who you trust. Hey, what's up, Jade? With your information. You know, you watch all of these people with all of their complaints about data centers and all that. And yet, we're all responsible for what we put there. You know, and we're told that we have no responsibility because we have no power. And in the wider world, that's true. I don't have the power to make Walmart stop, but I have the power to not use the Walmart app. I don't have the power to make Taco Bell stop with their use of data centers. I mean, you guys realize that even the ordering, kiosk is all run on a data center? It used to be a server in the back. Now they're all networked and connected to someplace else because, Amazon Web Services goes down, so does McDonald's in certain areas. So it's all run on a data center. What we call the cloud is a data center. So, we really need to understand and husband what we do with our lives. Because something's wrong. We keep doing things a certain way, and we keep giving them power. We keep saying it's okay for them to do what they're doing. Because you're giving permission every time you use an app. You're giving permission every time you boot up and look for deals that aren't really deals, because you may not be paying for it over here, but you're paying for it over here. That high utility bill, that high water bill. Water's a utility, dipstick. High prices over here, inflation. You're paying for it. There's any number of ways you're paying for it. And you've got to realize that maybe it's not worth it. Oh, sure, if you don't use the app, you'll lose out on the deals. But you'll still have to pay the prices now because you don't have deals. You pay full prices. Most of the places I go, I don't even notice. Not only that, it forces me to eat more often at home, which we all know is healthier if you cook for yourself. And if you have some of the modern conveniences, too bad T-Ro's not, well, maybe, no, he said he was still here. But either way, just ask T-Ro. You can cook a steak in an air fryer. I even center my steak in the center, and I'll put my veggies and I'll cook a whole meal in my air fryer. That frees me up to go do something else because I don't have to watch it. I wait for the ding, flip it, and move on. Some of the things are worth paying the money for. Meow. You know, and Spider-Man, I will say, probably inspired me to use the verbiage I did. You know, with great power comes great responsibility. Well, with no power comes no responsibility. And watching your own borders and being, you know, exercising power and your responsibility where you have control is more important. Decluttering your phone, decluttering your life, giving yourself time to just sit and relax. I was right about one thing in the movie. Well, I don't know how many people, you know, care about spoilers, so don't tell me what I was right about. Everything just glitch? Or was it just me? Sorry, I have a cut on my finger I keep nibbling at. I said the magic word. So go ahead and spoilers? Okay. I don't remember what the magic word, I don't remember the conversation we had about it. To be honest. I'm drawing a blank on what we talked about it. And I take it you're done talking about what I have to talk about, so we'll move on. They're working on a full reboot? Yeah, I figured. Well, and they have who I suspect is Jean Grey as the main villain. Or maybe she's not the main villain, but she's... Well, I knew Jean Grey was in it. I mean, that was obvious from the previews. You literally watch her. It's like, ooh, big secret. What other redhead would have mental powers in the Marvel Universe? I mean, unless they were literally pulling an original character out of their butts. You know, I had hoped it was going to be like Mephisto controlling, or maybe it was a Dark Phoenix Jean Grey. So, and it still could be. It hurts you in a good way? It isn't Dark Phoenix? Or... Well, how do we know? See, that's the beauty of Dark Phoenix is that Dark Phoenix acts exactly like Jean Grey, just can do some villainous stuff. And controlling villains seems to be pretty villainous to me. Yes, Dark Phoenix is Jean Grey, sort of. It really depends on what continuity you go with, because in the comics, Dark Phoenix wasn't actually Jean Grey. It was a clone of Jean Grey, created by the Phoenix Force. Well, I mean, if she's already been possessed by the Phoenix Force, it is entirely possible that that mental connection between her and the Phoenix Force goes two ways. So the Phoenix Force never has emotions unless it's, you know, being hosted by a body, by a person. So it's entirely possible they're using Dark Phoenix, and that could actually be what reboots the Marvel Universe. Because that's what the Phoenix represents, is death and rebirth. It is literally the psionic life force of sentient beings. Like, that's what it is. For lack of a better explanation. Put it that way. Spider Tracker app? What, Ned's Spider Tracker app? Well, I don't know how the Spider Tracker app works. Does it... Like, how does it work? People reporting a Spider-Man? Watch, they're pushing for a, everybody's going to assume it's a Venom thing, but watch, it's Superior Spider-Man. And it predicts where he's going, and it shows him in space. Well, that could be Doomsday. That could be, you know, explained by Avengers Doomsday. Because where he occupies the space, the place in space, could be where Doom rebuilds his section of, you know, Earth 616, no, not 616. The MCU universe. You know, remember, they're gonna bash everything together. So it's not that shocking to see Peter go into space. There's many ways to explain that one. Especially if it's a prediction. That's really not that hard to predict. I'm just saying. But not enough for me. It's still Mark Ruffalo, so the Hulk scene can be cut out of the movie and I wouldn't care. I know given the storyline, but I don't like the puppy dog Hulk. I mean, to me, this Hulk is like a Chihuahua. It is strong, it's vicious, it wants to tear you apart, but it just can't. You know, I mean, they put so many limiters on Hulk, it's just a joke. You know, and the fact that he's still wounded really torques me. You know, I mean, Hulk's regeneration rate, well, it's not even a regeneration rate, but he has one. But it's the fact that whenever he switches bodies, because that's what it is, it's not the same body. He literally switches. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous that this Hulk still has the... He was healed in She-Hulk? Okay. Then why did it look like in one of the previews that, you know, Banner had his arm in, you know, in something or something like that? It looked like it was still in some kind of... Oh, is that what it was? His inhibitor? Really? What happened to Professor Hulk? I mean, I thought he was all mentally together and he was Professor Hulk. They don't even know what to do with Hulk, and it shows every time he's on screen, in my opinion. You know, I'm going to watch Spider-Man, and maybe it'll change my mind. Maybe Ruffalo does a better job as Bruce Banner in this, but in the previews, I didn't see it. Right? Yeah, Hulk has, you know, because the Green Hulk, Savage Hulk, is Bruce Banner's childlike id that is trying to protect the ego. Because it's DID. You know, and they haven't even touched on the fact that there's multiple Hulks in there. You know, I mean, there is so much that could be done, like with a completely unique storyline. If I was the Hulk writers, I would have Banner, regular Savage Hulk, you know, they've met out a, you know, an equal opportunity thing. But then at night, I would have, you know, when Bruce Banner's sleeping, have Joe Fixit come out, the Gray Hulk, the Smart Hulk, that goes out and be an enforcer for the mob and stuff like that. You know, that the actual villain of the of the movie is Bruce Banner himself. Is coming to terms with who he is inside. You know, which is literally, you know, his, you know, the Gray Hulk is his romanticization of watching the old mobster films and how in control those guys were of their circumstances. How much they understood, you know, they had control of the world around them. You know, so that's what Bruce Banner wanted, was control in his life. And that's my problem with Mark Ruffalo. He does not play Banner as a complex character. You know, not just the anger, but there's a whole complexity that underlines, you know, Bruce. He wants to be a good guy, but he's very traumatized. And Ruffalo can't play that. There's plenty of people he could have been. I could have seen Ruffalo play any number of other characters. I still don't know how he got the job as Bruce Banner. I don't. And we all know that I can keep talking about that forever. But, you know, and I know that it's, you know, some people really like Ruffalo as Hulk and as Banner. That's fine. I hate how much they weakened him. You know, his rage has no limits. His strength has no limits. But his control has no, you know, is very limited. He doesn't have very good control. Which is why it's such a delicate balance. He's your helper up until he isn't. And there's so much they could have done with him that they choose not to. Which again irritates me. It throws me off. But, and I know I've talked on this a long time, but I was holding a fireside chat about power, responsibility, and your control in your own life. And I wanted to know your guys' thoughts about what I was saying. I mean, am I off base? You know, this isn't just a lecture. You know, it's asking yourself questions. What do you really need in life? What's most important in your life? You know, how important is it to, if you can't afford the thing you want, but the app gives you a deal on it, is it worth the weight of that app to get the deal? Or is it better to have just saved up your money? You know, we all struggle with money. Money is so easy to get rid of. So hard to gain. And it's easy to make justifications for things we don't really need, we just want. Again, I know, I do it all the time. I'm not saying I'm any better. What I am saying is that we can be better. And no, we're not going to be perfect. We're still going to have our, you know, so Infinite, you like Taco Bell a lot. So obviously that's going to be one you keep. It's worth it to you to keep the app. But what about the others? You know, that's what I'm trying to talk on. It's not, oh, deprive myself of everything, you know, because I just can't do it. No, it's what's worth doing. You know, I'm not saying, you know, and I realize sometimes it sounds like I'm speaking in absolutes, and I don't mean to do that. I'm legit making you choose for yourself. Ask yourself those questions. Is it worth it to do this? Should I do this? Or is it really worth it? You know, if I had a little bit more disposable income, yes, exactly. hedonistic treadmill. You chase a high when you shop. So you make more money, so you buy more, since you can afford it, but end up worse off than you were before. Because it's about percentages. That 25% raise makes you buy 30% more stuff. You've lost 5% in the long haul. You know, just saying. It also works in reverse. Inflation takes 25%, you know, or 10% off the top. So stores charge 15% more because inflation. It's really harmful. Let's be honest, it is. It's really harmful in how these things work. You know, we don't realize, well, take what Starbucks is doing. I don't know how many of you drink Starbucks, but I don't drink Starbucks. But if I did, this would make me stop cold turkey, even if I had a latte a day habit. So they have this new blending powder. And I don't give a crap about all the guar gums and xanthan gums that are in it. We've been using those for decades. And those are, I hate to tell people this, the goo is literally naturally sourced. Xanthan gum and guar gum, they're tree resins. They're sweet resins that we get from nature. The thing that pisses me off is the silicate dioxide. My dad may have died of COVID, but it was in 2019. What he was diagnosed with was idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis. This is a fancy word for saying I have lung scar tissue. And it was from when he used to work on a rock crusher on a road crew. Or not a road crew, but for a road construction company. And he worked at their lot on a rock crusher, which crushes rock and aerates a whole bunch of rock dust, which mostly is silicate dioxide. Now, silicate dioxide is sharp. Now, you don't get it as much like if you live in a desert or something, because that's natural erosion and the sharp edges are actually smoothed. But when you make it artificially, when you make silicate dioxide artificially, it's basically glass powder. And when these poor baristas have to pour that stuff into their container and then also get the scoop out and scoop it, you're making dust. That dust gets inhaled and it starts cutting up your lungs and it starts creating scar tissue. The problem is that silicate dioxide is light enough and small enough that you can't cough it out. It's like asbestos. It just cuts you more. So you might get a bunch of that in your 20s and you stop working as a barista. You go to work for someplace else and you don't have to worry about it. But in 20 years, when you're in your 40s, you start coughing more. You get a lung scan, x-ray. Oh, you got a little bit of scar tissue in your lungs. By the time you're 60s, your lungs are 3/4 gone. Ask my dad. Oh, wait, you can't. That would make me stop. Because, one, the baristas said it's toxic. I was like, no, it's not. It's dangerous. But it's only dangerous to the baristas. It's not dangerous to you to drink. Going through your digestive tract, your body's designed to take stuff like that. Your lungs aren't. Sorry, your stomach is designed to take stuff like that, but your lungs aren't. And when it's watered down, it's held in so you drink it. It gets suspended. It's not a danger. So that's not what I'm speaking on. The goo, what people mostly like, oh my God, it's all gooey. It's like, well, then don't watch how gum gets made. Don't watch how half of your food gets made. If you're just worried about goo, almost all processed food starts out as goo. Don't watch how hot dogs are made. That's a pink goo that goes into a skin. I mean... Oh, cinnamon? Yeah, have fun eating a tree bark. Yeah, it's a cinnamon tree. Yeah, you literally flay trees alive. You're literally carving off its tree bark. That's why you get the cinnamon sticks that are all curled. That's the exterior bark. Once it's dried. Do you know why it's spicy like that? To stop things from eating it. It's literally a pesticide. That's why cinnamon works so good. That's why cinnamon works so good on getting rid of ants. Like some of the most effective anti-ant sprays are just cinnamon oil.
No.
Yeah, well, jalapenos developed a spice to stop things from eating it. And humans just looked at that and go, why is it spicy? I like that. I'm one of them. Like, seriously, I like hot stuff. You know, and it's just hilarious that people are complaining about one thing. Oh, the goo. And it's like, you literally have a deadly inhalant over here, but you're complaining about the texture of something. Oh my God, don't touch refried beans then. Yeah, cactus make people sick in the head and they love it. You know, I mean, bread mold of a specific type makes people sick in the head. But also bread mold, it makes people heal as an antibiotic. Yeah, beans. But you make refried beans, that starch, that bean starch, can make like a weird film. You know, I mean, especially if you have like beans and rice or beans and cheese, you know, and you have the rice over here and you're eating at a restaurant, and you eat that, and then when you go to eat the beans and it has that skin on top, that skin that looks so gross to some people is literally just the starch cooling and solidifying on top. It's actually creating a barrier for the rest of the beans not to oxidize. It's actually kind of helping them keep fresh longer. Kind of. But I'll be right back. I'm gonna run the ad.
The world keeps talking. That's what it does. Labels the rain, then blames the mud. But storms pass through. They don't define what you make solid, what you call mine. You don't control the wind, you don't control the sea, but you control the stance you take inside of me. I don't know my calm to silence. I not the score. You are not the future or the thing before. You are breath and balance, weight and release. You are how you answer what the moment asks of me. Let him talk, let him guess, let him dress it up as stress. You don't need to prove your name to occupy your frame. Time keeps moving, that's okay. So do you, in your own way. I don't wait for the right time, no. I don't hand up my spine, no. I don't freeze, I don't stall, I engage. That's all, no excuse, no crown, just presence holding ground. Right here, right now, that's the moment I choose. That's the vow. No witness, no test, no future to impress. Just breathe, just ground, just now. The clock keeps ticking, I stay here.
Sunny day or even in the shade, washing the rains away, having your cares fade. Being young is in your mind, enjoy being kind. Look for trouble and it will find you, that makes it double. That means times two, skip the mess, that is best. Have fun, be young, drink it in the refreshing taste of laughter. That is what we are here after. Sunny days in the cold, crisp, clean air. If I may be so bold, doing what you dare. That is what is fair. Your mood to share. If your mood is out, let it lie. Don't scream and shout, it will pass by. Resist and fight will just increase its might.
Welcome in, Rando. How are you? And yes, infect people's dreams with whatever food. You just haven't had the right kind of olives. Picture the feast in the Shire surrounded by hobbits stuffing their faces. No. See, you forgot one thing, Green Jeans. Hobbits were impeccable hosts. Remember, in the original Hobbit trilogy, well, it wasn't an original trilogy. It is a nightmare. Well, then why don't you just send her to Never Never Land, where there is no food and you have to have a good enough imagination to believe it's real to actually eat. Come on, shout out Hook. Man, I'm really thirsty tonight. No. See, you got to understand, XO. I don't do that to personally you. I'm just a terrible bastard that loves thinking about tortures. Don't ask me why. Me and my buddies used to play this game. Called like Figs and Mice. It's from a book we read. And it's literally about how to get information from somebody without ever having to do anything. Because the whole joke is that this guy is trying to interrogate this thief. And so he tells the other people in the room, okay, I need a pot of boiling water and about a pound of salt. And he tells them to go off, but they already covered that earlier. No matter what I tell you to do, just stay gone for about an hour. And so he just sits there with the guy and waits. The guy's like, what are you going to do with this? What's going to happen? What are you going to do? Just wait, you'll see. And at some point, he cracks under the pressure. Because your mind thinks up more tortures in that scenario than the person could. Dinner, supper, late night snack. Cheese. I love cheese. Tonight I made bacon and eggs. Bacon, eggs, and I, toasted a tortilla on one side, flipped it over to toast it on the other side, but spread a little cheese on top so the cheese would melt onto the tortilla, and that was my toast. It was like a cheesy toast. Oh, it was so good. So if you want to talk about torture, I can just tell you what I, cook for myself to eat. And that goes back to, it's like, why would I want to go out to a fast food joint when I can cook for myself? Groceries are expensive, yes, but I can still buy more groceries for the same price as what it cost me to buy food. Again, speaking of things that you can control versus things you can't. Ooh, garlic parm wings and mac and cheese. That sounds really good. I'd want a good buffalo or hot sauce to dip the parm wings in, but... Oh, and I love putting Tabasco just on mac and cheese. So good. For some reason, I like Tabasco and cheese. Really good. Like I would used to just cut slices of cheese, put it on a tortilla, put mustard, enough black pepper to crunch, Tabasco, and just fold it into the tortilla and just eat it like a cheese pocket. Not even heat it up. Like it wasn't even warm. It wasn't even melted cheese. It was just, I would just do that and eat it. I think that's how my kid ended up with some really bad heartburn most of the nights when she kept trying to eat like I did. And it's like, don't do that. Most people can't eat like I do. I also found it funny. There was a little weird statistic I heard. Countries that developed refrigeration or were colder so they could actually preserve their meats and fruits and vegetables longer don't have spicy food. Countries that can't preserve their food like that, developed a love of spicy food because spicy food is naturally antibiotic. because spices were evolved for things not to eat them. And it always makes me it's a weird dichotomy. Like, why tropical places have spicy food and oh, I see. Infinite's just ignoring me. All right, fine. Talk amongst yourself then. I'll just be here babbling on. No, but I mean, really, it's like, it was just a funny little factoid I found out that, northern climates or colder climates, no, you're fine, literally developed refrigeration because they had naturally occurring refrigeration. No, there you go. You needed to eat something. Right? No spicy? Which is funny because they actually had access to spicy. One of the best spicy things, or two of the best spicy things, which is funny because it was the Caribbean that really did it right, because they used clove, mace, and nutmeg to make Jamaican jerked chicken. The spice, like it has a nice heat to it. Right? It's literally, they had access to spicy and just never did it. They used it in baking. Like, you use a little clove, a little nutmeg, and just a dash of mace. And that's basically what they had for sweets. I mean, the whole reason why we use cinnamon is because mace was too hard to balance out. So they swapped mace for cinnamon. And that's how you end up with cinnamon rolls. But it used to be mace. Now it's more commonly used as a spray to keep people away. It's literally what they use for mace spray. And I can't remember why, but they did stop using it for some reason. Ooh. Okay, sorry, I was hearing a strange noise behind me. People built in immunity? No, I don't think so. Or maybe they did. I don't know. I shouldn't say that so blithely. Blasé. Maybe they did build an immunity to mace. Well, it's just like mustard gas. We didn't really... I mean... You really want to be funny. One of the first battlefields that mustard gas was ever used on was in France. And today, the most popular mustard is French's yellow mustard. Gee, I wonder why it's French's yellow mustard. Because they grew all the mustard plants, and then without a war, they had to find some use for it. So they started making mustard in a more, like, they had mustard. Don't get me wrong. Mustard's been around for a long time. But now you had this, like, French's yellow mustard that we all consider, ubiquitous. It's been around forever. No, it really hasn't. Grey Poupon has been around, which is when you mix it with white wine. The mustard powder. Yellow mustard is vinegar and turmeric. Because mustard isn't naturally that yellow, it's more of a brownish color. Adding turmeric to it makes it yellow. That's what's funny, is why yellow mustard. Man, you guys are making me hungry. But anyway, I take it you guys didn't really have a whole lot of thoughts on how to control your own clutter. you know, electronic or otherwise in your life to help clear up Z. Take it, the cat is saying hi. Well, that actually doesn't surprise me, XO. I don't have Cash App. Again, I don't use many apps. Well, I don't really have a whole lot of clutter, but what I'm also talking about is, yeah, see, XO's the same as me. I have one game on my phone, and mine's a Marble 3-match. It's called Marble Puzzle Quest. Not sponsored. You know, it's just a stupid thing that I've been playing for a long time. It's just something I use to keep me awake, or to wake me up when I wake up in the morning, or when I'm waiting somewhere. You know, and it's just about decluttering your life. It's not just clothes, Green Jeans. It's all the stuff. You know, and I'm not talking about what's her name, Kanto. Does this spark joy? I'm just talking about weighing the positive and negative of what you do. You know, and if it's worth it to you to keep doing this thing that you might see as negative because it has an overall positive on your life, but if it's not really an overall positive, and like keeping the DoorDash app on your phone just makes it more likely, because if I remember right, it'll give you notifications or pop-ups about deals, just like most of the other food apps. And so it'll hit your impulse, like right now when we're sitting here talking food, to go order food and have it delivered, rather than walking into your kitchen, spending the same 10 to 15 minutes that you're going to be waiting on your food to cook yourself something. I mean, I get it, eggs are expensive right now, but I'm sure that there's something you could make in your fridge that would fill the hole. And it's like what I tell myself: if I'm not hungry enough to cook for myself, I'm obviously not hungry enough to eat. You know, and don't get me wrong, I love going out to eat, but I make it more of a deal when I go. You know, I go to sit in, let them eat cake. Yeah. You know, I sit there, you know, just to be around people. You know, I experience the restaurant, because by sitting there and realizing, how do the workers talk to each other? How does it look like the kitchen is? I don't just go through the drive-through. Because if I go to a certain restaurant and I see, you know, whether it's a fast food joint or a restaurant, and the workers are dirty, the workers aren't cleaning the place properly, I can't trust the food that I'm eating. So I won't go back there. I'll find a different place to go to. Those are the kind of things that when you get food delivered, you don't even see. You know, gee, you know, you might have this low-level sickness, like not ever enough to like get sick, but you might feel run down and stuff like that. And that might be literally because you don't realize that the food you're eating is from a dirty place. It's never enough to like harm you, but it's enough to lower your energy, if that makes sense. You know, it's more important to see where you're getting your stuff. Like, you wouldn't go to a grocery store that if you walk into the store and your feet are sticking to the floor, like you can hear that syrup sound, or like, you know, movie theater, where your feet are sticking to it, you know, and there's like grime on where the produce is held. Please tell me you wouldn't continue to shop there. Well, then why would you continue going to a fast food joint that does the same thing? They're preparing your food. Just because it's cooked, it's still, you know, after it's cooked, ran on a lot of those counters. You know, you're putting an awful lot of trust You know, let alone the DoorDash driver. What if they're scuzzy? What if their car's infested with something? You know, and they bring in pests because you take their bag that's been sitting out in their car that's been infested with cockroaches or whatnot. You know, again, you know, you got to think of the long-term ramifications of these things. Well, there you go. Louisville, the next hantavirus outbreak. Right. But that's the point I'm trying to make is that Hanta COVID. Oh, God, that would be a terrible thing if those two somehow crossbred. Thank God they shouldn't be able to because they're not related. And that's what I'm trying to get you guys to question is your choices in the world. You know, and keep in mind, you know, I don't expect you to change all of the sudden. You shouldn't. 3 dish crew got fired for not running meat cutting boards through the... Oof. See, I've disgusted EXO. She has to leave. I've made her disgusted because she was hungry. I will apologize. Anyway, yes, EXO. You have a paper to write tomorrow morning. Good luck with that. Write well. But what I'm talking about is I don't expect you to change. Is for your master's degree? Well, then you got this. You've mastered this course. Or actually, you're probably, what is it, an entrance or is it a final? It's weird timing for me because it's like when most people are starting to think about going back. But it's also the end of summer, so I don't know which one you're at. There we go. Yeah, it is for your applications for masters. So, yeah, you've got this. I mean, come on, EXO. You're probably the one that's least likely to have some of the issues I'm talking about. Like I said, clutter and stuff like that. You might have some time management issues where you take on too much for yourself and don't get enough sleep. But actually, you know, you focus on the things that are really important to you. And that's what's important. You know, and I think a lot of us are more focused on wasting time just so we have to, you know, just so we wait till we go back to work. And that's the hard part, is realizing that we're just wasting time and not actually doing things with our time. I don't know if it was my birthday, whatever, you know, just got me thinking this way, and I figured I'd share. You know, I mean, and I'm not trying to, you know, call out anybody else. I mean, we all know Rando's really good at writing. You know, he has a good hand at writing. You know, we know Infinite is also in college and doing well. And also has a few other things, because I know you know, you occasionally take care of babies that aren't your own, but I don't know if you're actually like making money being a nanny, babysitting, or if it's just for family. I don't really care. I don't need to know. I'm just saying that, you know, that's the case. We know Green Jeans, you know, he does a lot of LARPing. He works at you know, stuff like that. So I'm just trying to say that we take things on that take our time. And all I'm saying is just make sure you take things on that are important to you, that are important to your time. You know, that make sure that you know what you're doing when you do these things. You know, make sure that when you download an app for something, that it's important. You know, you shouldn't have every food app out there. You know, just have the one for your favorite one. You know, why would you have one for, say, Sonic an app for Sonic when you barely ever go there, and it's only in like the next town over that you even, get to go there. I'm not trying to trash Sonic. Sonic's a fine place. I'm just saying, yes, never half-ass two things, whole-ass one thing, and do your best. Absolutely. And I think too many of us get too distracted by this, that, the other thing. And we need to learn to pare down and to focus on the things that matter to us. Focus on the things we can control. Yes, peaches and cream. Yes, we got it, Ninetales. Oh, wait. It's all about controlling your own circumstances. It's all about paying attention to the things that matter the most to you. And cut out the things that just seem to be wasting your time. That you do because you did. I did it yesterday, so I do it today. We all need that time to decompress. When you pull up your video. Wow, I thought you already left. Well, yeah, yes, good writing. I just want to make sure that you guys understand that there's plans of attack to do things. There's ways of doing things that are important. There's reasons for doing things that are important. You sitting back on TikTok may literally be your pattern before you go to bed. Just make sure to set some timer, not for your screen time, but for your bedtime. Like literally set an alarm. Number 2, don't sit there and scroll your phone in bed. Don't use that to wind down because you end up sitting there for an hour or two. Set your phone on the charger, go to bed. Sure, it might take you a while your body's getting used to understanding that I need to go to bed. Also remember, set daylight, and nighttime timers on your phone. There's actual blue light filters for your phone. Like, I don't think you guys realize I have blue light filters on my screens that go on at a certain time. At 7 o'clock at night, my screens, every single one of them, my phone, my computer screen, goes to blue light reduction. This helps your brain focus and know that, hey, it's sundown. It's time to start going to bed. It's time to start winding down. I take forever to wind down. So I set mine at 7 o'clock. But I don't normally go to bed till between 1 and 2 o'clock. But when I go back to bed, my phone goes on the charger and I go to bed. Hell, I used to not even sleep with my phone in the room with me. But since I'm the only one home, and we always had the wife's phone in the room, and mine was out here. But now that the wife's not here, I have to have the phone in the room, just in case some emergency. But I still keep that habit pattern of setting the phone aside and not picking it up when I'm trying to sleep. Because even with the blue light filters, your brain still gets bored. And my God, have we forgotten how to be bored? Like, holy crap, people. Like, and this is no shade at Simply, okay? People have lives, shit happens. I was all ready to go to watch a movie with Simply, with Infinite normally, and whoever else stops in. I was all set. True, international friends have different time zones. I totally agree. And so I was all ready. I had already watched the videos. I was like 5 minutes early. And then I find out something came up and we can't watch the movie tonight. So I'm like, crap, what am I going to do? Oh, yeah. My mom gave me some money for my birthday, and one of the things I grabbed was one of the novels I suggested for Raven. Which, this is some collected works by Philip K. Dick. The Man in the High Castle, The Three Stigmata of Palmer Eldritch, Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, and Ubik. These are all seminal sci-fi novels. And I mean, the book was only less than $25. Oh yeah, a classic. I've read Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, but I've never actually read Man in a High Castle. Well, unless you count the comic book that was like this illustrated thing that they did, which wasn't the same thing. Oh, way back in the late 80s, early 90s, they were doing these children's illustrated classics, which Man in the High Castle happened to be one. It was strange. But, you know, because it was a classic novel, they redid it. Oh, the Prime series was good, but from what I understand, there was a lot more that they did with the material than is actually in the book. And what I've read so far, that's for sure. And, like, the main character, from what I've read so far, is Frink, which is a guy you meet in the Rocky Mountains halfway through the first season, or like at the beginning of the second season. Like, he has nothing to do with Man in the High Castle, the Prime series. There a little bit, but not much. And the Prime series really has nothing to do with the novelization. You know, and it's the same thing with like Blade Runner. You know, I mean, Blade Runner doesn't really have a whole lot to do with Do Androids Dream of Electric Sheep, other than being source material. I know that one for a fact. But the others, you know, I haven't read yet, so we'll get there. But the point is that I didn't know what I was going to do, but I knew I didn't really want to get on the computer again. I had already done my work. I had already researched the topic for tonight and set up the little bit of script I did. Not only that, I was so busy, I did tomorrow's too, which is basically the sequel to this, tonight's. Which, it's not what it's not exactly a sequel, but it is a continuation. And the reason why I don't do it right away is because I want you guys to have time to mull things over, to think about what I've said. You know, for me, it's like planting seeds. You know, I plant seeds in conversation. Things that you might think about years down the road that you didn't even realize came from me. Or years down the road, somebody's going to mention something and like, oh yeah, and it's suddenly going to click. And that seed's going to grow and you'll understand what I meant. Now, whether or not you do anything with it is all entirely up to you. But the point is that I want you to be able to think. I want you to make your own mind up. I'm just planting seeds. If you choose to let them grow, that's your choice. I'm not telling you what to do. I'm giving you suggestions. I'm trying to help you along on life's path as best as I can because I'm a dad and I'm the boss. And a good boss should encourage the people underneath of him, so to speak. Not lord over them. You know, that's one of the biggest issues I have with work right now. Again, you know, that's why I call myself certifiably unemployable, because I can't stand how bosses do it today. It pisses me off. You hire people, like, I'm going to go on a mini rant. I apologize. What is the problem with people? Yes, and Nine Tails, I can't keep my mouth shut in situations like that. What is the problem with bosses who hire people with the skills they need? They know these people have the skills. They looked at their resume. They hired them. and then proceed to tell them how to do the job that they hired them for, that they know they have the skills to do. Pardon my language, let the motherfucker work. If you're so worried about validating your job, maybe do your freaking job. Your job isn't micromanaging the people underneath of you. You hired them because they knew what they were doing. Now, if it looks like they're lost and they're having issues, ask them what's going on. Help them. Encourage them to get to work. Don't just sit there and say, oh, you have time to lean, you have time to clean. Right. See, but I'm fine with, tell me what you need to do. Tell me what you need me to do. And then leave me the F alone. I will go do it. When I was on ship, I was so efficient. My bosses. Night Tales, you just slayed me. I love that. If you have time to run, you have time to shut the fuck up. Oh my God. How about that? I just, it irritates the piss out of me. I mean, I've literally looked at a boss and I told him, like, look, you hired me for this job. You know I know how to do it, yeah? Then why are you keep telling me how to do the job? I already know how to do the job. That's why you hired me. Let me do my freaking job. Shut up, go do yours. Quit trying to do my job for me. Guess what? I got fired. I mean, I don't blame him. But my God, I get so frustrated. You know, and not to toot my own horn, but the simple fact is I cannot work with anybody dumber than me. And my God, is there a lot of people out there that are dumber than me. Right. If I need something, I can ask. Leave me alone to do my job. The jobs that I've been the best at is when the boss tells me what to do, not how to do it or anything like that, just tells me, okay, this is what needs to get done. If I have questions, I'll ask, like, okay, is there a certain process I need to follow to do this, or do I need to develop my own process? No, okay. Off and running I am. Or yes, tell me the process, train me. And then leave me alone once you've trained me. Now, if I'm not doing my job or the job isn't being done to your satisfaction, of course talk to me, tell me what's going on. But don't sit there while I'm doing I literally got fired from a job for having my hands in my freaking pockets, okay? That was on the firing paperwork. And they fired me, but when I was walking out the door, I literally asked my supervisor, was my job ever undone? Was there a time that I didn't get my work done? And he goes, no. And I said, then what was the problem? If I got my job done, what was the problem? And he's like, it didn't look like you were doing work. I said, so you care more about the appearance of me doing my job than me actually doing my job. See, this is why this place is a shithole. Bye. Right. You know, if you make proper training material or proper reference material, as a boss, you should barely have to do your job. Well, that's why the dumbest thing, you take all of these layoffs in gaming right now. This pisses me off so freaking much because what did Asha Sharma complain about? That they had 14 layers of management to go through. And yet, did they fire any of the middle managers? No, they laid off the ground level devs. The game developers that actually made the games, not the people that fucked up the game above them. Like, people can make their jokes about, oh, they were libtards, or oh, they were too Republican, or whatever BS they want to put out there. But the fact is that no, Xbox Microsoft laid off the people that actually did the freaking work, but kept the people that delayed the work or that screwed up the work. They kept the middle managers that were responsible for it being in the state it was in. How does that make any sense? Well, shoot, that just makes it easy. Better than the stupid condiment alphabet that Waffle House uses. You ever see the training video for Waffle House? You have to learn how to stack, condiments and stuff and where to put the fork and the knife and pass it on so that the cook knows what to do, because apparently he can't read a ticket. That blows me away. It's like, wow. Intro to street boxing. Oh, yes. No, it's one of those things, like, it doesn't make any sense to me. Like, it bothers me because I see it happen all the time. Where these middle managers that literally have nothing better to do than to micromanage you. And yet they'll fire the people under them, but keep that person. Why? Well, that just tells me that the bosses above them don't have two freaking eyes. We all know that middle management is pretty much the most useless people in friggin' anywhere. I mean, 90% of my bosses could have been fired and replaced by a simple app. But you couldn't replace what I was doing with a simple app. But my middle managers generally are schedulers and deal with conflicts in the job. Simple app, that you have on your phone. Yeah, I need this day off. Reason if you have to give a reason, but legally in most states you don't even have to give a reason. Just for future reference, if they ask you a reason, it's like, it doesn't matter. You don't need to know. Well, if it's medical or something important, I need to know. Like, if it was medical, I would have said, this is a personal day. That's why I'm asking for a personal day. I'm not asking for a medical day. Oh, one of my bosses got real upset about that one. Then she found, later on, she found out that I took the day off because it was my damn birthday. She's like, why didn't you tell me? Like, because it was my birthday. And because it was a personal day, it just means I want to take a personal day. I asked you a month ahead of time. I think that's plenty of time. And if somebody else needed it more, and I need to fill in, you needed to put me on the schedule, fine. I'm okay with that. But I like to take my birthday off. Oh, it's like, asking for reasons is dumb unless I absolutely have to. Yeah, I don't have to say why. I have no reason to. And if it's a doctor's appointment, you're damn skippy, I'm going to tell you, because, look, you're going to have to schedule somebody because it's a doctor's appointment. And to me, that's a medical day off, not a personal day. That should go off of my sick time, not my personal time. I know ultimately it really doesn't matter, but to me it does. Because it's why you have sick time. They literally tell you, oh, sick time, it's for when you're sick or have doctor's appointments. And then when you proceed to make a doctor's appointment, they make you make personal time, not sick time. But you told me when I was in training, oh, well, you're not actually sick. But it's a doctor's appointment. Medical time off is for... You're dumb, aren't you? Sorry. It's just one of those things, like, this is why I'm unemployable, because I actually expect bosses to do what they say they're going to do, and I expect bosses to lead by example. If you work in Denny's and you see that your servers are slammed and you're the manager, what do? You go around, start filling coffees and asking drink orders. You know, you do the job of a host because obviously the host or hostess isn't there. So you help out. You do take refills. You don't take orders because that's taking money out of your servers, pockets. But you at least, refill. You do your job. You assist where needed. Or maybe before you were a manager, you were a cook. You get back your happy ass back there in the kitchen and help the cook. Don't tell the cook that you're taking over. You have a head cook for a reason. You go back there and you help cook. That's your job. A manager is the Swiss Army knife of the company. Their whole purpose is to fit in the role that they might be lacking in that day. And yet most managers have completely forgotten that. That was the reason why the best managers were always the ones that started from the bottom and worked their way up. Because they had literally fulfilled every level of that job. So if, Bill from accounting had to, got fired or he's sick, so we need somebody to do the books, it's like, well, it's not going to be as good as what Bill did, but I've done my fair share. You do what you need to do. That's the whole point. You fill in. But most managers think they're too good to freaking work normal parts of the job. I got paperwork and go hide in the friggin' office. Which, yeah, sure, they have paperwork. Absolutely. But it's not 8 hours worth of paperwork. If it was, they wouldn't have time to sit here and micromanage me. So you either have time or you don't. Well, my job is micromanaging. No, your job is managing. And managing means managing what's happening on the floor, where the work is being done. You manage what happens. That does not mean you're a freaking king. Right, as long as you give a good heads up. See, that's a good job. That's good communication. I just see it happen all the time. And yeah, I shouldn't get so heated about it. I don't know how not to. I have tried. I had over 253 jobs by the time I was 23. And that's not counting the jobs I did under the table. I just realized that there was a few jobs in there that I did under the table. So it's probably about 255. And that was from 18 to 23. 28. Sorry, 18 to 28. Because it was a 10-year job history. In 10 years, I did 253-ish jobs. And that was according to Social Security. That was little entries. It cost me pretty penny because it was 3 pages worth of information. So that I could get a 10-year background check for when I was going into shipping. I was also doing all sorts of background checks. I was doing all sorts of other jobs. Or trying to get them, which I needed... FBI background check. I needed Coast Guard background check. I was doing, all sorts of stuff. In that 10 years, from 18 to 28, I did so much. And that's not counting working at the swimming pool when I was a kid, the trap range, the furniture store. I can't even remember all I did as a kid. That's one thing. I worked from the time I was 12 to 28, nonstop. I don't think I ever got a vacation. Skeet shooting clay pigeons. Where I lived, they had like these little bunker things that are set into the ground, and you had the launcher. And my whole job was to place a clay pigeon on the launcher and get my ass out of the way. Because that thing whips around at 30 miles an hour. You're damn skippy. I wore a leather jacket with a high collar because I got hit in the neck once. Thank God I was wearing that leather jacket. Wow. Because you never knew when they were going to call for it. Like, I'm not the one hitting the button. That was the guy outside the bunker. Because you had guys with shotguns that you're in front of. You're set down. They're supposed to be shooting up here, but There were times when I could hear the back of the shed getting hit because the guys were also allowed to drink, and I was 12 years old. I mean, it was dumb. You know, I did not get shot in the ass because I was actually in a protected bunker. Like, it was literally set in the ground. You just had about this much sticking up above the ground, and it was all cinder block with 2 layers of plywood. So none of that shot was getting through unless you use slugs, and even then, I don't think it was getting through. I mean, I was never worried about getting shot. But you also didn't leave I know we had a word for it, but I cannot remember. Probably the house or something stupid like that. I never left it until somebody told me I could. You know, and that's just the thing is that I worked my ass off from the time I was 12 all the way up to 28. You know, and I was so tired. At some points in there, I was working 2 and 3 jobs. Like, I worked the trap range on the weekend during the summer, trap range on the weekend. I was an assistant swim instructor at the pool during the week. And in the afternoons, I was mowing lawns. I worked 3 jobs from the time I was 12 to 15. Constantly. Then when I turned 16, I got my driver's license and I started working at the furniture store. And while I worked at the furniture store, I also was in football. So I was working and doing football. And then when football season was over, I expanded my hours on the furniture store. And I never got a break. I never gave myself a break up until I was 28. You know, even when I was in shipping, you know, I was supposed to be off work for 4 months. You know, because you're supposed to go 4 months on, 4 months off, 4 months on, 4 months off. Even then, you know, when I came home, I might take a week or so, but then I would get a temporary job in between. Like, that's when I did ventilation cleaning. You know, I went from being down in the belly of a ship to up on a ladder with an air hose cleaning ventilation ducts. You know, and I did that for three years. Then I got the job at the casino. You know, and I only had one job at the casino, but I also had to get, when I got off in the morning at the casino, I had to babysit the kids in the morning until they got to school. And then I had about 6 hours of sleep before I had to get up and bring them back home from school. And it took another like 2 hours or so before the wife got home. And then I'd run off to work. You know, I mean, that was my life. For what's 12 to 28? 17, 16 years? 14 years, no, 16 years, I was right. You know, somewhere between 16 and 17 years, that was my life. Working, school. Yeah, because I even did, you know, college in that time. And when I was in college, I worked janitorial at a movie theater. So after the last, you know, showing of the movie theater, I worked my ass off to make sure that all the places were clean for 12 screens. I was the only janitor that worked nights. And I went from about 2 in the morning, and I had to be home by 6 in the morning before the wife had to go to work. So I had to be there with the kids until they went to school at like 7:30, 8 o'clock. I'd take them in, then I'd be able to sleep. and I'd sleep for like 4 to 6 hours. No, it was only like 4 hours is what I got to sleep. Then I go to classes, get out of classes, pick up the kids, bring them home, kind of half-ass nap and everything until a certain time. Then I'd have to cook dinner for when the wife got home from work, and then I'd go to sleep, like actually get asleep for another 4 or so hours. Yeah, they're gonna need a team to figure out my social security check in 25 years. That is true. You know, I mean, I did so much. And I mean, who knows? Maybe before too much longer, I just go out and get a job and, you know, only be able to do this on the weekends. I don't know. You know, I mean, I'd like this to actually pay for itself, but if it doesn't, it doesn't. You know, I'll find some way to do it. Right now, I really can't do that. But, I mean, I'm still around for a while, guys. I ain't going anywhere. I mean, unless you guys just stop showing up, and then, yeah, it's probably time for me to stop doing it. Ran y'all off or bored y'all to death. Either way, it's about that time, so I'm going to let y'all go. I didn't figure I'd keep going till midnight tonight unless... Well, let's be honest, I don't really feel like it. I think I'm good with the 3 hours tonight. I hope you guys have fun. Don't forget, 5 o'clock tomorrow, Ghost Raven Patience and I will be playing Dead by Daylight. As you got a little preview of earlier, if you were here, I was playing the lights out, game, which is where all the lights are out, and you just kind of wander around and try and live. But we'll be playing that tomorrow afternoon, and tomorrow evening we'll pick this conversation back up with, the original saying, with great power comes great responsibility, and with the abuse of that power comes a response. And I'll be talking about how we respond to things that we may see as abuses, and what the right way to do it is versus the way most people like to do it. Have a good night.